All right, all right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Early Morning Crypto Talk. Bitcoin Brandon from Los Angeles, California. This is a Saturday, which means this is open to the public, and I'm experimenting. I'm doing something different this time. Instead of streaming live directly through Facebook, I am streaming live directly on, thank you, on YouTube. And I'm getting prepared for our 5-day challenge that is coming up very, very soon on June 24th, and we will not be streaming the public side on Facebook. We will be streaming that in our ILCA YouTube channel. So I'm going to be experimenting the rest of this week with this and see how this plays out and the connections, as we're also getting ready for the relaunch of ILCA 2.0. We're very excited about. We have some new websites, some new cool content that we're going to be bringing to you guys. We also have an app that you're going to be able to have access to. We have the special promo going on this month to get access to all 10 courses for 80% off or $500. We're bringing back the affiliate side so you can earn $100 on every sale of that if you decide to share the 5-day or the ILCA courses with everybody. We also have a brand new ebook that anybody that registers for the 5-day challenge will get for free. And so we have a lot. I got a busy day today. So let's jump on into it. As a disclaimer, well, first, my name is Brandon Ivey. I am on YouTube as well. And I did put this on Facebook, so you can still see this on Facebook. It just gives you a link going directly to the YouTube. But in the future, and I'll let you guys know it's in our Telegram groups, so that you're not asking me every single time, what's the YouTube link? It's my YouTube page. That's it. That's it. You just go to my YouTube page and it's going to pop up there as live. Today, I am streaming on my main YouTube page, but in the future, I will be streaming on just the ILCA YouTube page. I have several of them. But I'll get you guys that information. So welcome those of you that's going to be watching on YouTube, and also everybody that is on Facebook and our Inner Circle members that's on with us right now. And speaking of the Inner Circle and this Zoom link, this will change when we get closer to July 1st. The only people that will have this are those who are actually paying members in the Inner Circle. That's $49 a month. If you're not doing that, you won't have access to this. Just our Saturday ones when I do publicly. So I'll be changing some of the links up. So let's go ahead and get started. As a disclaimer, I'm not a licensed financial advisor to be giving financial advice. I share information for educational, training, and entertainment purposes only, and it is up to you to make your own informed, intelligent decision on which direction you want to move into. For those of you who are not in the Inner Circle, all week, we've been playing with a new AI app called Pi. And Pi has been very interesting, to say the least. I've been experimenting with her. And I say her because I have a female voice on her, so I call her her. I've been experimenting with her, and as predicted, my wife already doesn't like it. Already. But let's see what Pi says is the latest news of the day while I start to share screen. Hey, good morning, Pi. Can you tell me, as I get this Saturday morning started off, what are the biggest news stories today in the United States?
Here are some of the biggest news stories in the United States today.
Saturday morning started off.
According to a recent AP NOIC poll, about half of US adults approve of Donald Trump's felony conviction, but overall views of him remain stable. President Joe Biden has publicly apologized to Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky for a months-long congressional holdup on weapons, which may have contributed to Russian advances. Biden's halt on asylum processing has left migrants uncertain and rattled at the US-Mexico border. In lighter news, the US cricket team has made history by advancing into the Super 8 stage of the T20 World Cup There are also some interesting state-specific stories, such as Delaware ranking high among states with residents eager to move abroad, and a look at the oldest church in the continental US, which is located in Santa Fe, New Mexico.
Hey, wait, hey, Pi, is there any more news on the Russian ships that sailed into Cuba?
Ah, yes, the Russian warships in Cuba. There have been some developments, Brandon. Here's what we know. 4 Russian naval vessels are currently docked in Havana Bay, including a nuclear powered submarine and a frigate. One of the ships, the Admiral Gorshkov, is capable of carrying hypersonic missiles, which Russian President Putin has touted as unbeatable weapons. In response to the Russian warship's arrival, the US has sent a fast attack submarine to its Guantanamo naval base in Cuba, and a Canadian Navy patrol ship has also arrived in Havana. It seems tensions are definitely high between Russia, the US, and its allies in the region. We'll have to keep an eye on this developing situation.
Thank you, Pi. One more thing. Could you say good morning to me in Spanish?
You're very welcome, Brandon. And of course, here's your morning greeting in Spanish. Buenos dias. I hope your day is off to a great start.
Thank you. I'll talk to you later.
You're very welcome. I'm always here when you need me. Until next time, Brandon, take care. Hasta luego.
Oh, did you hear that in? Say hasta luego. Wow. I mean, this Pi. Wow. That's all I can say. Keep you guys. I hope you guys have been playing around with it and testing its limitations and what it can do. That's what I've been doing. All right, so let's see what's been going on in the crypto space today. We've got well, let's refresh. Okay, the crypto market cap is at 2.55 trillion. It is down 0.8% in the last 24 hours. Bitcoin dominance is at 51.2%. Ethereum is at 16.8%. That's right, Dave. That's like talking to a computer in Star Trek. Let's see. And there's ways to customize it. So once I'm done playing with it, I'm going to go in and do some deep diving on to see how I can really customize. I want to customize the voice. I want to customize the responses. I saw one other guy that was doing it where Pi is talking, but talking more like a human, where it will pause by, well, let me think. Little mannerisms and colloquialisms in there. And I want to add all of that human touch to it. Again, my wife ain't gonna like it, but it is what it is. Bitcoin is down at $66,000. Since this is Saturday, we got to look week to week since we're public. So Bitcoin is down 4.6% on the week, Ethereum 3.6, BNB dropped 11.7% on the week, Solana 10.3. BNB just last week had hit an all-time high. It was over $700. So it's dropped 11%. Solana's down 10, Lido's down 3, Ripple's down 2.5, Doge is down 7, but Toncoin, here's the outlier. While all the tokens went in this direction, Toncoin has gone up 11.2%. Look at that. Cardano is down 6, Shiba's down 11. Avalanche down 7.3. Tron is up 1.3. Uniswap. Remember, we want to look at the outliers. Uniswap is up 18%. Toncoin is up 11%. Okay, those are the two breakaways there. Near's down 15. Internet Computers down 16. Render's down 12. Let's see the best performers in the past week. Uniswap, Toncoin, Notcoin had a rebound. Remember Inner Circle earlier this week? It was on a downward slide. I said they got to, they had a great marketing plan on coming up and hyping it, but they got to show, okay, now what are you really about? So I don't know if that's happened, but they've popped up 6.2%. Let's see, Monero, Qcoin, Tron. So these are the tokens that bucked the trend this week. The worst performers, Floki, down 26%. Ordi's down 24.1. Airweave's down 22.6. Bittensoar 18.4. Celestia 17.4. C or Say 17.3. Didix 16.9. Stacks, StarkNet, Internet Computer, Python Network, Beam, Sui, Fetch, Filecoin. Wow. All of these are all double-digit red. Okay, so we'll see where this new week's coming up, how this new week will start to pan away. Let's go with some of the news. First up is this one. House passes bill automatically registering men between the ages of 18 to 26 for the draft. The selective service is already mandatory for male U.S. citizens aged 18 to 24. Now, I got to remember this. I remember when I was in high school, and I don't remember if it was my junior year or my senior year. We all males, I don't remember if I went to an all-boys school. We all had to, I remember, fill out information with it wasn't that it was a draft, and it wasn't that we were enlisting, but I remember my parents had to sign something about, they have a kid that is of this age for the military. And I remember my mom being upset about it at the time. But again, it wasn't about you were actually being drafted. It was just, this was the selective service is already mandatory. But now this new bill is automatically registering men. What are they getting ready for? What do they know that we don't know? What's coming? The House of Representatives. Yeah, is that right, Kenny? We had to register for the military at 18, like you registered to vote. Yeah, and I remember that it wasn't you register, but that didn't mean you had to actually serve, or we had to be in the system. The House of Representatives passed a measure on Friday automatically registering men. So now it's going to be an automatic feature. It was part of the annual National Defense Authorization Act, which sets out the U.S. government's military and national security priorities over the next fiscal year. This year's NDAA authorizes $895.2 billion in military fund spending. Do you realize that that is more than the rest of the world's military spending combined? That's why I always think I go on the conspiracy side. We got a secret military. We got a secret space program. Anybody ever seen the TV show Stargate? That's what I believe is going on. All right. $895.2 billion, a $9 billion increase from fiscal 2024. Wait, we are currently not in any active war right now. We flip out over whether we got to send a couple billion over to Ukraine so that we don't have to actually get into war ourselves. But we've increased our military spending by $9 billion during peacetime. And then we're adding a mandatory registration for the draft. What are we coming? What's coming? The VA may be part of this bill. It should be. That shouldn't even be in a question. It should be a standalone all by itself. We need to take care of the troops when they come home. While it hasn't been invoked in over half a century, It's mandatory for all male U.S. citizens to register for the Selective Service, also known as the military draft, when they turn 18. I wasn't 18 in high school. I turned 18 right after I graduated, the summer of 94. But I remember the registration happened our senior year. We were all 16 to 17 years old. Failure to register is classified as a felony and comes with a host of legal challenges. Supporters of the amendment. Supporters. Okay, let me ask you guys this question. Because you guys are adults, you have children, you have grandchildren. Those of you are Americans. Are you a supporter of this amendment to mandatory register for the draft? And if you don't, you can have a felony and legal challenges on you. Are you a supporter or not? What do you guys are citizens? What do you think? Supporters of the amendment argued that it would cut down on bureaucratic red tape and help U.S. citizens avoid unnecessary legal issues, as well as cutting down the taxpayer dollars going toward prosecuting those cases. So in other words, the supporters are saying, yeah, this is already in the system anyway. So if we just make it automatic, then we don't have to worry about trying to track down those who are not registering and then full in the paperwork to pay lawyers and all that to do it, and the bureaucratic red tape. So they're saying, and this is important so you understand, this is already law. If you when you turn 18, you're supposed to. They just haven't been enforcing it. Okay, so you understand the difference? That's why you got to understand how politics works. Congress can pass a bill, but then there's another branch that actually has to fund it. So when you hear people say defund the police or defund the Department of Justice or defund this or that, you can pass all the bills you want, but they don't go anywhere unless there's funding for it or there's any type of enforcement. So this is already law. I want to make this clear. It is already mandatory for all males in the United States to register for selective service when they turn 18. That does not mean that they're going into the military or that they're getting drafted. It's so that they're in the system in case the United States decides to enact the draft, they already have the database. Now, if you refuse to do it, then you could be, if they decided to enforce it, that can be a felony. That's what I remember my mom was tripping out on. My mom and my dad was fighting or arguing over that. My mom, oh, we're going to Canada. So it's already there. What this bill is saying is, instead of when you turn 18, you going in to register, we're automatically going to register you anyway, because we already got your social security number. We already know you're going to be in the system. You guys understand that? To make sure. Yeah, I believe in that as well, Daryl. Politicians, their children should be the first ones to sign up. First, not last, not draft dodgers. They'll rethink being hasty into going into war if their own children are the ones being served up. It was led by Rep. Chrissy Houlihan, a Democrat of Pennsylvania, and passed in the House Armed Services Committee's version. The NDAA advanced through the committee in an overwhelming 57-1 vote. I am split on this. Okay, one, it's already law anyway. It just hasn't been enforced. So I'm looking at it from an enforcement case. If the time comes that they do decide to enforce it, in my opinion, no, it's not even my opinion. This is a fact. Those who will be harmed the most by this will be minorities because of this: legal challenges, felony. Minorities do not have the resources to fight this, and they will end up being hurt the most. Felonies, legal challenges, and all that BS. They don't fare too well in the justice system. So if I look at it from that standpoint, I support this amendment. I support this bill. Again, not that I believe we should have mandatory registering for the service. That's not what I'm saying. It is already the law. I support the bill only because it eliminates this: felony on your record and legal challenges. So it was led by Rep. Now, that's just my own opinion. Okay. I have two sons in this age range. So no, am I in any kind of enthusiasm to try to get them signed up and go into war for some BS. By using available federal databases. You guys are quiet on this one. Only a few of you have spoken up. You go to Israel, whether you're a man or a woman, you have to serve. And I do believe also, too, as a citizen, not necessarily that you might have to serve in the military. I like what Dave said there. 2 years of some kind of service. I actually agree with that. Some form of service. Locally, National Guard, Coast Guard, something like ROTC type stuff. I do believe in that. Freedom is not free. It is, you have to fight for it. You have to sacrifice for it. And if you live in a free society, I believe everybody needs to understand what that means. Who fought and died for you to have that freedom? But also, that also comes with the rights. See, one of the main problems, especially when minorities fought to even be able to serve in the military, you go back to World War I, World War II, especially World War II, that our soldiers, really after World War I, it really was bad. Black soldiers that fought in Europe got more respect from the UK and the French government than they did when they came home to the United States, their own government. So you served and you fought for your country only to come home and be treated like second-class citizens under Jim Crow and others. So if it's equal, it got to be equal. The NDAA also included the largest ever military pay raise in history. That is good. With a 19.5% increase for junior enlisted troops and a 4.5% increase for others. It also included funding for 2 new Virginia-class submarines and the establishment of a drone force within the U.S. Army, among other provisions. Ooh. You know what the future is going to hold? It's going to be AI. AI soldiers, AI weapons, AI drones. That's going to be the future. And whichever country is the best at doing it or the fastest at doing it will reign supreme. They have the infrastructure to do it. Right now, long term, the country that will be able to do that the best is going to be the United States. And the reason is the same reason why we won World War II. You know, if you ever studied World War II and the bombing raids over Europe against the Axis powers, we were able to successfully target their factories, their bomb making cities, and all that stuff. and none of them can touch the United States. There's not going to be any bombing raids over the United States. So our infrastructure will be intact in our factories that can continue to produce AI type weapons. That's not the case in the other countries. They can be easily attacked by the United States. So US will have that advantage. Anybody ever seen Star Wars The Phantom Menace? The very first one. And remember the war on Naboo between actual what do you call people, if you want to say that? And they were fighting the droid army. Well, what losses did the droid army actually take? They were artificial. You just build more drones. No lives were taken on that aspect. Even let's see, Terminator. You know, the first Terminator, when John Reese has a flashback back to the future and the wars, man against machine. The NDAA passed the House in a 217 to 199 vote, but it's unlikely to be taken up by the Senate. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer blasted the bill on Friday afternoon over the inclusion of amendments curbing. So they tagged other amendments onto this. So no, it's not going to pass. Curbing funding for abortion, transgender medical care, and diversity efforts. This is not going to pass. If it was a standalone as itself, it would have passed. So no, this is not going to pass. Unsurprisingly, the legislation coming out of the House today is loaded with anti-LGBTQ, anti-choice, anti-environment, and other divisive amendments guaranteed not to pass the Senate, Schumer said. So why did they do that? They knew that was dead on arrival. Why did they add that stuff to it? Just so they can go home and say, we tried to pass this bill and the Democrats said no? Yeah, that's part of it. As we move forward with this year's NDAA process, both sides will have to work together to pass bipartisan legislation that honors and respects all who serve in defense of our nation. Planting a seed. Yeah, but all I see here, what do they know? What are they preparing for? What's coming? That's all I see with this. All right, next one up here, we got President Joe Biden renominates anti-crypto SEC Commissioner Caroline Crenshaw. Talk about self-inflicted wounds. He just keeps doing it. President Joe Biden has announced a renomination of anti-crypto Democrat Caroline Crenshaw for second term as SEC Commissioner. Crypto community announces strong backlash. I mean, this is stuff he doesn't have to do this. He can avoid this, and it's going to be used against him. Prominent voices from crypto like Ryan Selkis has lashed out at Biden's crypto donations. On the one hand, the Biden administration has been reaching out to crypto communities for crypto donations, while on the other hand, it continues to appoint people who have been staunchly anti-crypto. In the latest development, President Joe Biden has renominated anti-crypto SEC Commissioner Caroline Crenshaw. Fox Business reporter Eleanor Terrett recently stated that President Joe Biden has announced his intentions to renominate Democrat Caroline Crenshaw to serve as the commissioner of the SEC for the second term. During her time in office, Crenshaw has consistently taken an anti-crypto stance and was staunchly against the approval of the spot Bitcoin ETFs earlier this year in January. Some critics argue that she's even greater advocate of strong crypto policies than her colleague, Gary Gensler. Interestingly, billionaire Mark Cuban recently warned that Gary Gensler and his anti-crypto camp could cost President Biden the next election. Okay, it is not going to cost him the next election, but it's not going to help. What's going to cost Biden the next election is Israel. And not from the right, from the left. Those of you in the inner circle, I've already talked about that. Again, that's in my own analysis and observation. When you look at the numbers from 2020 that pushed Biden over the edge, he does not have those same numbers today. And the reason why he does not have those same numbers is because of Israel and Hamas. The far left think he is being too lenient on Israel and not supporting the Palestinians enough. And he's getting blasted for it. So he's losing that support, and he can't afford, if he wants to win and be president, he needs to have that camp locked up 90%. It can't drop to 70, 80%. He won't have the numbers. So no, I don't agree with Mark Cuban. Is the crypto community is not big enough to be as a one issue that's going to cost Biden, but it also isn't going to help. So Crenshaw has been typically anti-crypto, voting against the approval of the BTC spot ETFs. Her critics say she's even more progressive than Gary Gensler on climate policies. After Donald Trump's strong support for crypto during his recent campaigns, the Biden administration has been making a desperate move to reach out to the crypto community during recent weeks. After cracking down on a number of crypto firms, the Biden administration is now seeking donations. See, that's the wrong thing to do. You can't, hey, donate to us at the same time shooting them down every step of the way. Biden does not have a following like Trump has, where it doesn't matter what Biden does, his followers are going to follow him lockstep. He doesn't have that. Trump does. Trump could flip-flop and say anything the hell he wants to say, and his base will still vote for him no matter what. He won't lose a single voter. He may not gain, but he won't lose. Biden, on the other hand, he can and will lose voters. There's not a cult following of Joe Biden. So he's got to, he's not Obama. And even Obama did not have a cult following. Not every black person voted or agreed with everything Obama did. In fact, he was being blasted for not doing enough for the black community and lost a lot of support. Even Kamala Harris definitely ain't got that type of support. Trump does. So again, if I was the what do you call it, advisor, I would be saying for them to do things a lot differently here. Unintended errors. So the recent reach out by President Joe Biden to the crypto community has met with community backlash. The recent dual stands from the Biden administration make the crypto community question whether he's actually pro-crypto or just pretending to. Biden don't know nothing about crypto. He's doing what his advisors is telling him. He don't know what Bitcoin or any of that stuff is. Ethereum contributor Anthony Cecil wrote, Biden wants to accept crypto donations, yet his SEC buddies are suing the biggest US-based crypto companies. Yep. Ryan Selkis, founder of Masari Crypto, has also expressed strong disapproval of any crypto donations to political campaigns before any concessions or policy reversals are made. Well, partly. One part of doing political donations is to influence future law and policies. So you can't say, oh, I'm not going to donate to you until you start to, do some things that's positive for us. No. The more money you do give, the more influence you have. And then you say, you like that money that we had coming? Guess what? It stops if you don't start writing laws in our favor. Who was doing that was FTX, or Sam Bankman-Fried. He was doing that. But before he could call on his, call in his cards, FTX got brought down, and the Republicans highlighted the fact that he was donating to the Democratic Party. And the Democrats' knee-jerk reaction went the complete opposite direction. Republicans pulled that trigger, and now we got to deal with it because these weak-ass Democrats can't stand on. I mean, if you accept the donations from them, Accept it. Yeah, we did, but there was, you got Bernie Madoff out there, even in the crypto space. We didn't know, but we're not gonna penalize the entire industry. Elizabeth Warren. All right. Utah senator seeks to abolish the Federal Reserve. This will never happen. So on the Republican side, don't let this be a wet dream, because first of all, the Federal Reserve has been protected by the entire Republican base until now. This is why I said things that they do is already decided. The CBDC is going to happen. But what are they trying to do now? Republican Senator Mike Lee from Utah has introduced legislation to abolish the central bank and its board of governors. Lee contends that the U.S. Federal Reserve has repeatedly failed the American public and argues for its dissolution. I agree with that. I agree with what he's saying. What he's failed to, I don't know if he knows this or not, but the Republican Party has been propping up the Federal Reserve and even made it stronger when Reagan came in office. Following the lead of House Representative Thomas Massie, Senator Mike Lee has proposed a bill to terminate the U.S. central bank. The Federal Reserve has overstepped its bounds and repeatedly failed to fulfill its mandate, becoming an economic manipulator that has directly contributed to the financial instability many Americans face today. And that's a true statement. The Federal Reserve is like the Iron Bank in Game of Thrones. At the end of the day, they run things. The concept of dismantling the Federal Reserve has existed for quite some time, with many viewing the institution as a detrimental force on the American economy. That is true, but here's the thing. The wealthy like staying wealthy. The Federal Reserve has repeatedly done things to keep that in play. And the wealthy, majority of them are always on the conservative side and lean more towards on the Republican side. They've been protecting the Federal Reserve. You eliminating their system, by you doing that, you are threatening their power and position and networks. So I want to see how long is this drum of war against the Federal Reserve going to last? Is this just an election year type deal, or will it continue? And how long until they shut them down and tell them, all right, it's time for you guys to shut up? When you remove a cancer, what do you replace it with? That's a good question. So if you eliminate the Federal Reserve, what's going to take its place? The late economist Murray Rothbard advocated for ending the Fed, attributing it to perpetuating inflation and economic instability. Well, here's another problem too. If they really start going at to eliminate the Fed, there's a lot of dirt that's going to have to come out. Like, where's all of our gold? Will Fort Knox be audited? What really happened in 1971 when we were removed from the gold standard? What moves were made back then to ensure the wealthy class? And it just it's like releasing the Epstein list. That's not a stone that the wealthy want to have uncovered. So when you remove a cancer, what do you replace it with? Rothbard criticized the Fed for being the primary driver of inflation through its control over the money supply and interest rates. Rothbard added, along with numerous other economists and market analysts, believes the Fed disrupts natural market processes, leading to economic cycles of boom and bust. Senator Lee of Utah shares this view, asserting that the time for action is now. This legislation aims to protect our economic future by dismantling a system that enables unchecked government spending, the monetization of federal debt that fuels it, and widespread economic disruption. I agree. It's time to end the Fed. But if you end it, what are you replacing it with? You just can't say, I don't like it, shut it down. Okay, so what's next? That's the only thing the Republicans will always have a failure to be able to do. I want to end Obamacare. Okay, and replace it with what? Obamacare was created by the Republicans under Mitt Romney, was called something different. Democrats just hijacked it. So if you eliminate it, what are you replacing it with? You just can't say no. The future of the U.S. economic policy hangs in the balance poised between entrenched institutional trust and a growing chorus calling for foundational change. Should bills like those proposed by Massey and Lee gain momentum, it could signal a significant transformation in the American financial system. And again, that means the powers that be are going to be the first ones disrupted, and they ain't going to let that happen. And they're the ones who give the most money to the Republican Party. So I don't know how long this little drum is going to happen, but this is interesting. My prediction: there's going to be a major crisis in place. We're going to be getting rid of the physical money, and we're going to use strictly digital, and we will have a CBDC. And even if Donald Trump's president, he'll sign off on it. Analysts predict Bitcoin hitting $200,000 next year and 1 million by 2033. Okay, I'm going to do a special live recording. I'm going to call it the time capsule recording, a message to my descendants. Since we now live in an era where our descendants will be able to see us, hear us, and know our thoughts. Judy, I'm inclined to say no, only because I only got a couple of minutes. I got to do the gifted money presentation coming up. So, and that's going to cause others are going to want to say something as well. So analysts predict Bitcoin hitting 200,000 next year and 1 million by 2023. So my time capsule for my descendants, here's what I got to say. I am fully aware of what Bitcoin and crypto is going to be worth in the future for you guys. I am doing everything in my power, literally everything in my power, to make sure our family is positioned to take advantage of the greatest financial revolution the world has ever seen. That it won't be there for you, but it is there for my time. So in our genealogy, our family tree, I know I got to be the one to take advantage of this, unlike my ancestors who didn't have the opportunity during the third industrial revolution. Slavery was over, but we were living through Jim Crow and what's the other term? Jim Crow and I forgot the other term. Anyways, we didn't have the right and the ability to, but now we do. And I'm making sure that I do everything. So if I fail, it's not because I didn't at least try. I know one day Bitcoin will be worth $1 million a coin. Global asset management firm AllianceBernstein's analysts predict that the price of Bitcoin could soar to $200,000 by 2025, 500,000 by 2029. I think I understand this time frame. Do you guys see the pattern here? Look at the years. 2025, 4 years later. 2029, 4 years later. 2033. What happens the year before each of these years? 2024, 2028, 2032. Type it in the chat box if anybody knows. What happened those years? Judy, Daryl, the Bitcoin halving took place. And then the following year, predicting Bitcoin reaching its all-time high. 2025, 200,000. 2029, 500,000. 2033, 1 million. How old will you be in 2033? I will be 63 years old. Wait, 8, 4, 7. 53. No, 54 years old. By 2033. 55 years old. $1 million of Bitcoin by that time. You'll go back, man. I remember 2024 and Bitcoin was like less than $75,000 a coin. I wish I did something more back then. This is where, you say, if I could go back in time and tell my old self something, what would I tell him? If I go back to 1994, what would I tell Brandon Ivey then? Well, you got to pretend like you're doing that now. Pretend you're in 2033 and you had a chance to go back to 27, well, me when I got started 2017, but 2024, what would you tell yourself? Huh? And then act on that. Melanie said 30, AI over again. The 30 all over again. Bernstein analysts Gautam Chugani and Mahika Sapra shared their Bitcoin price prediction on Friday while initiating coverage of the Bitcoin-focused software intelligence. I think that this is actually conservative. I think these numbers might even be a little higher. They believe Bitcoin could reach 1 million by 2033 and forecast a cycle high of 200,000 by 2025. We revise up our Bitcoin price expectation to 200K cycle by 2025 versus 150K earlier. Our base case estimates Bitcoin at 200K by 2025, 500K by 2029, and 1 million by 2033. This is why, again, right now you should have it a goal to own at least one whole Bitcoin or a quarter of one and stash it away. You will be in the top 1% of asset holders in the world. We believe that U.S. regulated ETFs were a watershed moment for crypto, bringing in structural demand from traditional pools of capital. They estimate that by 2025, Bitcoin ETFs will hold about 7% of the Bitcoin in circulation, increasing to 15% by 2033. I think it's going to be even bigger than that. We believe Bitcoin is in a new bull cycle. All right, I'm running out of time. What else I had? 56% of Fortune 500 firms pursue crypto and blockchain projects. 56%. What did I figure out in 2017? Blockchain technology will disrupt every single industry on the planet today. Now, 8 years later, 56% of Fortune 500 companies are pursuing crypto and blockchain-based projects. How long before this is 100%? Think of the early 90s. How long was it until 56% of Fortune 500 companies were pursuing internet? Today, it's 100%. There is not one Fortune 500 company that does not have an internet presence. So how long do you think it will be before there is not one Fortune 500 company that does not have a crypto or blockchain presence? 2 years? 5 years? I say 5 years. This will be 100%. And what's speeding that up is AI. El Salvador views Bitcoin as a tool to liberate the nation from fiat currencies. Liberate. Even getting away from the US dollar in its current form, unless the US dollar turns into a CBDC. This is why I said the US government will create a CBDC to stay on top. It's inevitable. Holograph compromised. HLG value plummets as hacker illegally mints 1 billion tokens. On June 13th, an unidentified hacker minted 1 billion HLG tokens by exploiting vulnerabilities in the holograph operator smart contract. Dang, I want to be all in this type of technology. Holographs? The holograph team has patched the initial exploit and is collaborating with exchange partners to freeze the affected accounts. Yeah, they're going to have to come create a new coin and do an airdrop. The decentralized finance researcher suspects a rogue developer orchestrated the attack. So somebody from within had access to their code. We are working with external networks to issue a reimbursement for affected victims during the process. Users can now claim a refund of 75% of their original. Yeah, they got to come up with a new coin. That coin got killed. And then we got WorldCoin to establish Latam hub in Argentina, despite heavy scrutiny. So WorldCoin is still moving forward and going to Latin America. WorldCoin, the biometric identification project, has announced a new expansion process in Argentina, where it reportedly will seek to open 50 new locations with eye-scanning hardware. The announcement comes after Buenos Aires indicted Tools for Humanity, the company behind WorldCoin, for including abusive clauses in its service agreements, and a meeting between WorldCoin executives with Argentine President Javier Milei. I don't trust this thing. This is, for me right now, one of the biggest threats to humanity is this WorldCoin project. Yeah, this stuff, I'm side eye with this. All right, so that brings us to the end for Crypto Talk for today. Oh, wait, there was one more thing I had to show before I need to shut it down. Remember, we are offering right now ILCA courses, all 10 courses, 150 plus videos, 80% off. Go to ivyleecrypto.info, click on I want 80% off and put in code EDU20 so that you can get these courses. And if you might have noticed, Get Fit, there is no more Omegas available. You can't even purchase it right now. But I still can give you a discount. Anybody that purchases the course, I'm going to give you 3 Omega miners worth $899 a piece. And you can sell this course. Become an ILCA affiliate. ILCAaffiliates.com. Load up. There you go. ILCAaffiliates.com. Become an affiliate. And if you sell the course, I'm going to give you $100 per sell. $100 per sell if you sell the course. I might even throw in an extra bonus in there too, on top of that $100. The courses look like this. You can add, and it's all going to be in an app that's going to go with it as well. All right. With that, I've got to end. Yes, this is public. That's all. But I know who's watching me publicly. I've got to end. Today, we will be back on Inner Circle Crypto Talk on Monday. Inner Circle Crypto Talk on Monday. $49 a month to be in our Inner Circle. And I got to do the Get Fit Bonding presentation right now. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.